and part 2 of how to warm up into cold approaching and start being social. So in the last video, I spoke about the anxiety bubble, and that is just a really good idea just to do an approach. Doesn't matter how it goes, just to get it out of the way. So you've maybe done that a couple of times now. Doesn't really matter how the interactions have gone. You've embraced maybe the rejection. It might still be sort of sore or painful, but you've just proved to yourself that it really wasn't as bad as you think it was. Now, the next thing that I would be doing, and this is something that I would be getting every client to do, especially if they're not yet ready for a conversation, because if you aren't ready for a conversation, that's only going to bring back that anxiety and induce it, and it's going to just make it even more difficult to gradually build up. I'm a huge advocate for working on the foundational stuff first before you start working on the more intense or flirtatious, challenging parts of what builds attraction and how to have a conversation. And guys who usually get into this field, they maybe struggle with that. I know definitely a lot of the clients that I've had in the past and that I've worked with other coaches, you know, they've just struggled to be able to work on the simpler things, the finer things. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it means you've got to focus on them. You've got to work on them until that they aren't really that bad. And then you bring your level up to a point that you can have a conversation. So if you can't have a conversation with women, it's going to be very difficult to get numbers and go on dates. In truth, to be really blunt and honest with it, it's going to be very, very difficult. You're not going to end up having relationships with women if you don't know how to speak to them. So we start at the base level. You've given them, you've stopped them, you've said something. What's next? So usually the first step that I will do with clients is just to get them used to giving a compliment. The old hit and run compliment tactic. And there is nothing wrong with this. And this could even, in fact, be swapped with asking people for directions. Again, it's more about creating something what's called social momentum, where if you speak to people consistently, it puts you into a more sociable state. And believe it or not, people don't see that common sense. So that's why I've had to explain this. So building social momentum will help you to have a conversation. And if I were to kind of really go into the science of it, it's essentially trying to reduce the amount of cortisol that is flowing in the body when you're trying to face your fears and anxiety. It's not easy if you can't think straight. And that happens when there's just cortisol flowing. So the idea is if you can kind of reduce those anxiety symptoms, if you can, stop the heart palpitations, the irregular breathing, the sweating, the pulsating, and also just those cortisol levels that allows you to remove that brain fog or those brain fart moments, you can actually think about what you want to say to someone. And I'll give you an example. I mean, imagine if you're talking to your best friend, or maybe you're talking to a family member or whoever, even at work. You're not really anxious, especially if there's someone that you trust and you've spoken to for a while. You're not anxious about starting a conversation with them. There's no cortisol flowing in your body usually, unless there's something really stressful you want to ask them. But it's more about the fact that we want to alleviate the symptoms of anxiety and relax you into the approaches. And when you relax, you can start having fun. You can start enjoying your interactions and conversations. So the first thing that I would be getting guys to do is just giving a compliment. Going up to someone, making their day by telling them something about them that you noticed, or that you really like, or that you were curious about, and you just wanted to tell them it looked great. Let them appreciate it and just say, have a good day. And that's it. And you just walk away. So we're not worrying about trying to go for phone numbers. We're not worried about trying to have a conversation. We're not worried about trying to flirt. We're not worried about where the date is going to go. We're not worrying about like, what's the third date going to look like? Where's the wedding going to be? We're not worrying about any of these things. We're literally just focusing on a compliment. Now, when you're giving a compliment, it shouldn't just be, oh, you look nice. Oh, you look great. It's too surface level. There's nothing special about it. It's just a throwaway compliment. Now, it might be okay to say if you really, really are nervous and you don't know what to say, but you're not really going to learn anything from it. You're not going to work on the improv or creativity in your mind. So what I want you to do is actually, when you see someone, and I'm going to show this in the infield, when you see someone, maybe point out something that you really liked, that you noticed with that person, and compliment them on it. So we're going to just watch this in field. Yeah, it's a bit overexposed. My friend Owen seems he just didn't press anything on the camera. So more importantly, just kind of keep an ear out for the audio. And I do apologize, but basically in this scenario, there was a girl who was sitting at a bus stop and we walked past and I said to Owen, I thought she was quite cute. I'm going to just go give her a compliment and just tell her that she looked great. And as I was walking over to her, and this is after I've at least done a couple of approaches, so I could feel the anxiety had calmed down, that I'd burst that anxiety bubble. I felt more relaxed in myself. And it meant I was able to pace myself as I was speaking, as you'll now see. Excuse me.
Hiya.
Just wanted to say, I think you looked really, really good.
Thank you.
I was really digging the style. I was just with my friend and I was just saying to him, like I really liked her style. So I thought I'd at least just say that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
No worries. Nice. Have a good day, okay? So there we go. Nothing crazy. And in fact, something that I really like if you're going to do these kind of like hit and run compliments is to add some kind of justification to it. Why did you want to come back to her? Or what was the situation with coming back to her? For some guys, it might be saying like, I would have regretted just not saying how good you look today. Or in my case, in this video, I said that I was walking with my friend and I said to him that I just thought you looked great and I wanted to go and tell you how great you look. And she loved it. Now you don't see it in the camera, but when she was sitting down, she had a massive smile on her face. She even blushed a little bit and she was just really appreciative of the compliment. Nothing came out of it. I didn't get a phone number or anything like that, but it was just about making her day. And this is something to bear in mind when you're doing compliments, or even if you're going out to approach, make her feel good. It's about making their day. And if you can somewhat be altruistic with making people feel good, that will have ripple effects onto you. You'll feel it. You'll be in a better mood. You'll feel more relaxed. You'll feel more happy. And in fact, that will help you as well with alleviating that anxiety. And this is what then I did for a couple more approaches after this, just giving people compliments in just different situations. Unfortunately, I didn't get them on camera, but I have got at least one more in field that I will be able to show you, even though it looks also incredibly overexposed with the lighting. So I really hope that you guys appreciate the work that I do with other coaches and how good that footage looks with them. And if anything, this is really my fault. I should have given Owen a bit more time to practice with the camera. I mean, it really was like I gave it to him and then it was like, right, film me, so yeah, it is what it is. But just going up to people, make them their day, make them feel good, just give them a compliment. Like, what did you notice about someone that you really liked? And that's something that I do get clients to do as we're walking. Even if they're a bit nervous to start off with to approach, I'll say, all right, well, look, as we're walking down this street, as we're walking past people, I want you to just tell me what you really like about their look. What did you specifically catch? And it doesn't even have to be about their fashion. You could be interested in, they look like they're from a particular country. Something that I really like if a girl wears great perfume is to go back to her and say, I got to say, I thought your perfume smelled great. You knew what you were doing when you were coming out today. I got to ask what it is. So you can, compliment on anything, really. And in fact, in the next video, I'm going to cover what the next sort of like phase would be, especially if you're getting comfortable giving women compliments, doing the hit and run compliments thing, making them feel good, make yourself feel good. But ultimately, for beginners, this is just a great little thing to do. Just go up to people, just make them feel great. But one thing I will say though, which can be, I wouldn't say a danger, but just an easy trap to fall into, is just giving the same compliment every time. So what I would even suggest, just as an added exercise for yourself, is mix the compliments up. If you said a compliment, try not to use that same compliment for the rest of the day. You can even write it down on your phone. And also, if you're not sure what kind of compliments you could give, what sort of words, descriptive words you could say, write them down on your phone. Plan in advance. You can sit in a coffee shop beforehand and be like, well, what can I say? She looks good. She looks great. She looks amazing. She looks stunning. She looks gorgeous. She looks beautiful. She looks so good. You can write all these things down. Nothing wrong with that. No one's going to hold that against you, because this is about your learning curve and your learning experience. And you're doing this to that point that you are comfortable with it, and you won't need to then be looking at notes on your phone. You can just literally go up to someone and say exactly how you feel. It's about self-expression. Say what compliment comes to mind, and she'll love it. She honestly will. So this has been part 2. And then the next part, the final part, with one more infield, one more hilariously overexposed infield, I might add. I'm going to then show you what I then would do as the next step after that, with warming up into properly cold approaching, especially for beginners if you're trying to work on just developing your social skills. So I've been Dan, and this is my channel, That Danxiety Guy. Absolutely look forward to my next video, my third infield. And if anything, I'll even say, filming in London is the place, really, or making sure that you go to a city that has a lot of traffic. This place just didn't. It was what it was, but I'll work with what I've got, is what I'm saying. So if you can, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I've also got a members thing now on my channel, so if you want to support me by donating a bit of money as well, I would absolutely appreciate it. And it also then means I might be able to actually hire a camera guy who can film for me. Unfortunately, it seems like I'm way more affordable than other cameramen. Who knew? But there you go. So thanks for watching. Look forward to part 3, where I'm going to be covering about what's next after giving someone a compliment.